Grand scholar Liu Hongxun, a native of Changshan, Shandong, heard about the immortal residing on Anqi Island during his diplomatic mission to Korea and yearned to visit by boat. Korean ministers dissuaded him, explaining that the island was isolated and only the immortal's disciple, Little Zhang, could guide the way. Little Zhang visited Korea just once or twice a year, and those wishing to land needed his permission, otherwise they would surely encounter storms and capsize. They advised Liu to wait patiently for Little Zhang's arrival. A day or two later, the king of Korea summoned Liu Hongxun. After the court ceremony, he noticed a man wearing a sword and a palm leaf hat, sitting solemnly in the hall. The man appeared to be around 30 years old, and Liu learned that he was Little Zhang. Liu expressed his desire to visit the Immortal Island, and Little Zhang gladly agreed, but cautioned, "Your military officers cannot accompany you." After inspecting the entourage, he allowed only 2 to follow and personally steered the boat to guide them. The distance across the water was immeasurable. They only felt the whistling wind as the boat soared like riding clouds and mist, arriving at Anqi Island in an instant. It was deep winter, yet the island was warm and mild. Mountain flowers bloomed brilliantly between the cliffs and valleys as if it were spring. Little Zhang led Liu Hongxun into the immortal's cave dwelling. Inside the cave, 3 old immortals were sitting cross-legged in meditation. The ones on the east and west sides remained aloof toward the guest, while the one in the middle stood up to greet him, and they exchanged courteous bows. After they were seated, the old immortal ordered tea to be served. Outside the cave, an iron spike was embedded in a stone wall. A young attendant took a tray, pulled out the spike, and spring water gushed out. He filled the cup and plugged the spike back in. The water in the cup was pale green and icy cold to the taste. Liu, fearing the chill, did not drink it. The old immortal signaled the attendant to change the tea. This time, the spring water was richly fragrant and steaming hot. Liu was secretly astonished. He asked about his own fortunes and the art of reversing aging. The old immortal smiled and replied, "We beyond the mortal world do not know what year it is today. How could we understand human affairs? The art of reversing aging is not something high officials and noble lords can seek." Shortly after, Liu took his leave and was escorted back to Korea by Little Zhang. He recounted his extraordinary experience in detail. The king sighed and said, "What a pity you did not drink that cup of cold tea. It was nectar and divine liquor. 1 cup could extend your life by 100 years. When Liu set off to return to his country, the king presented him with an object wrapped layer upon layer in paper and silk, instructing him not to open it until he was at sea. No sooner had he stepped ashore than he unwrapped it to examine carefully. Inside was a mirror clearly reflecting the crystal palace and the family of flood dragons. As he gazed intently, a colossal tide surged like a towering building. Terrified, he fled, but the tide pursued him closely. In desperation, he threw the mirror into the water, and the tide instantly receded.